This is the Conspiracy Commission Podcast.
No way it's not.
It's definitely set up to fail. It's set up to fail.
All right.
This is what we're looking at.
All right, monetary system.
USDebtClock.org. It's just me and Eddie today. Welcome to Conspiracy Commission.
Let's go.
Some hot topics. Talk of the town recently has been about de-dollarization, us reaching our debt ceiling, the U.S. government reaching their debt ceiling, I should say. Will the dollar be removed as the world reserve currency? I'm by no means a financial expert.
Is it going to be replaced with the social credit score? Is that
with the digital dollar as well attached? Or a social credit score attached to that, the dollar, digital dollar.
Like if you're too fat, if you're
not, your digital dollar won't let you spend money on sugary goods.
You won't be able to buy ice cream.
You're gonna have to eat kale salad.
Kale. It
won't even be kale salad. It'll be bugs. It'll be crickets.
Because you need protein, just straight protein to eat bugs and crickets.
You will eat the bugs.
Wow.
So we'll talk about some like WEF stuff. Great Reset. Klaus Schwab talked about how. Remember when we did our episode on the Great Reset, or COVID-19, the Great Reset, his book.
Yeah.
He talked about him wanting the U.S. dollar to not be the world reserve currency anymore.
Interesting. Why is that,
It's
Klaus?
interesting that a couple years later,
here we go.
It's all the talk of the town.
Yeah, it's in rotation now. It's starting to come true. It's into fruition.
Yeah.
Are they speaking it into existence? Interesting.
They're manifesting it.
Are they manifesting it? Is it a manifestation?
So right before I clicked record here, we were just looking at. I don't fully understand everything on this. I think it's a cool resource though, and it's pretty official. If you guys want to go look at it, it's usdebtclock.org. The U.S. national debt, 31.7 trillion, almost 32.
Wow, it's a lot going on there.
We've showed this before.
Who's built that?
U.S. total debt though, 96 trillion.
Whoa.
I mean, that's just fucking insane, dude.
You think trillions of dollars just grows on trees, man?
U.S. M2 money supply. So right now, there's $21 trillion in the system.
Whoa.
How the fuck do we have $96 trillion in U.S. total debt? And how is this system even set up in? This is the dumbest fucking system. And they want you to be worried about, we're going to default on our debt. Even though there's only fucking 21 trillion in the fucking system, where we have 96 trillion total. We're going to default.
Because you just keep...
We have to raise the debt ceiling.
Every year you're just printing more money. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. Remember when I was asking you this? I was asking you this off the clock. How do we... what are they just getting gold? They're just...
I mean, dude,
gold? What are they getting this money from?
It's been a great way for them to just exploit it and print as much money as they want, fund whatever they wanted. I'm talking about Illuminati viewpoint right now. But dude,
it's catching up. Is it catching up?
Yeah, right. How has this shit not collapsed already? That's the insane part, right? And I totally understand why they want to have a great reset, dude. Right?
I mean, because there's no more money. Literally,
we're getting to stupid numbers.
You said what did you say? You said there's how much money in circulation?
21 trillion down here at the bottom here.
21 trillion. All right, and then you said
money supply.
And then you said how much money is there in debt?
96 trillion.
Right.
Total U.S. debt.
Right. And probably of that 20, would you say in circulation was 21 million?
21 trillion.
21 trillion, my bad. 21 trillion in circulation.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's probably not all gold itself.
No,
right?
No. I mean, this is dollars.
Well, that's what, but that's what I'm saying.
Which is just debt.
Yeah.
It's not backed by anything. With gold. We're gonna kind of touch on this topic too. Some people have introduced a bill to go back to the gold standard, peg the U.S. dollar to the gold standard, which would be an interesting way that they get out of this situation.
Could that be a way? Could that be?
Well, it'd be interesting to see how that...
Or is it just going to go to just making it a monetary system, a digital system?
Well,
no more cash. Everything will just be swipe life.
Of that, I guess it would mean that there would have to be $21 trillion worth of gold for them to have redeemable. But I doubt they'd keep it a 1-to-1 ratio. You know what I mean? It's probably
Right.
They're probably just going to keep it this stupid fractional reserve system where you can lend out $9 for every $1 you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even though you lent $1 out, you still have.
You
What?
took in $1 in deposits, you can fucking give out 9. You know, so there's like now there's $10 in the system, but you only had that $1 on deposit. You know what I mean? Kind of like that whole fractional reserve, 1-to-10 ratio.
So how they been making the money with the economic hitmen? How they been?
Well, I mean, the banks are just raping us for interest.
That's what the banks do. I'm saying, how's the country making money?
How does the country's kind of goes along with this whole idea of like we're talking about economic hitmen. We're talking about this guy's book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. So how do we make money, right? So Perkins claims that the NSA arranged for him to be hired by the firm, that he was subsequently seduced and trained as an economic hitman. He was trained to convince leaders of underdeveloped countries to accept substantial development loans for large construction and engineering projects, thus trapping them in a system of American influence and control. So how does America gain influence and control over these systems or these countries? The corporations that come in to do these large construction and engineering projects for their water, for their electricity, for stuff like that, for infrastructure, are all American countries. They're going to have to do it by American standards. They're going to have to do other things that are, you can't be communist. You got to be whatever our goals are. You have to be aligned with them, essentially. And then they also get crippled with having to pay the debt. And so you can see how these, this is the central bank strategy, right? The cartel of central banks that you could kind of say are in control of the world, at least by the balls with the money. You know what I mean?
Run that clip. What do we got him saying about these economic hitmen?
I read recently declassified information, the CIA's own website, where they admit
This is the gentleman
that the U.S. government was deeply involved in the overthrow or assassination of Prime
John
Minister
Perkins.
Mossadegh of Iran, President Allende of Chile, Arbenz of Guatemala, Diem of Vietnam, Lumumba of the Congo.
Do you remember when we were doing our NSM 20 whatever?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about exploiting these countries?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's the same thing.
And speaking of Allende of Chile, he was replaced by the terribly brutal dictator General Pinochet, who was a great defender of Operation Condor and also oversaw the murder of tens of thousands of his people, and was praised by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger.
Wow,
Kissinger.
Kissinger.
Of capitalism.
Kissinger.
I stood in front of the Shah of Iran, the presidents of Indonesia, Ecuador, Panama, members of the Royal House of Saudi Arabia, and I've said something like, in this hand, I have millions of dollars for you and your friends if you play our game. In this hand, I have a gun in case you decide not to. Now, my words were more diplomatic than that, but that was the message. I was an economic hitman. And we economic hitmen have created a new global economy, really, a form of capitalism that I call predatory capitalism. I would go to countries with resources our corporations covet, like oil. I'd arrange a huge loan to those countries from the World Bank or its sister organizations, but the money wouldn't actually go to the country. It would go to our corporations, Bechtel, Halliburton, Brown and Root, familiar names, to build big infrastructure projects in those countries and incidentally make huge profits in the process. They'd build power plants and industrial parks, things that would benefit a few wealthy families in the country, the ones that own the industries. But the majority of the people would suffer. They would be left holding a huge debt they couldn't repay. So we'd go back and say, since you can't pay your debt, sell your resource, oil or whatever, real cheap to our corporations. Privatize. Sell your utilities, your schools, your jails, everything like that to our corporations. And Claudine also told me that if the leaders of these countries refused my offer, people she called jackals would be right behind me.
Whoa. Jackals. The jackals.
The finger gun pulled up.
Watch out. That's crazy.
That's the gist
dude.
of it, you know?
That's bullying.
And
right
that's
there.
geopolitics in a fucking nutshell of how, like, the U.S. bullies the world, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Or you could say, like, you know, I mean, that's the CIA doing this. That's, like, you know.
That's crazy. And me and you had talked about this years ago.
Who knows if that's some deep state, shadow government, Illuminati type ordeal.
It's been going on for a while, though, no?
Or if it's just, you know, or if it is just more
propaganda.
More American interest.
Is this propaganda?
I don't know. Regardless, it's like, dude, in some cases, dude, you can't help but think, like, we're the Empire from Star Wars, man.
Until we're not, dude. You know what I mean?
I didn't actually carry a gun.
Why
but
would
the
you?
jackals did. My first assignment was in Indonesia, a country that had just ended a terrible civil war where more than 1 million people had been killed. It had a terrifying reputation. And I have to admit that when I arrived in Jakarta, knowing I'd be there for about 3 years, my knees were shaking pretty bad. My stomach was filled with fluttering butterflies. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I was a very young man. I just knew that I was expected to produce a report that would convince the Indonesian government to build an extremely expensive electrical system, hiring our corporations to do it. Claudine had made it sound simple, even kind of James Bondishly romantic. But now I'm struck by reality, and I felt naive, ill-prepared, vulnerable. Fortunately for me, the winner of the Civil War, President Suharto, who was actually a dictator, wanted the projects that I was offering, and he also wanted CIA and Pentagon protection. And so every time I stumbled, and I stumbled often, somebody was there to pick me up. A government official would appear with an incredible report that would indicate beyond any shadow of a doubt that electricity was all the country needed to take off to huge growth. A Harvard-trained mathematician showed up with a mathematical formula that proved that if they just built this electrical system, everything would be fine. In the end, I produced a report that forecasts the need for electricity at an unheard of annual rate of 19%. Indonesia got its loan. Our corporations made lots of money, and I was promoted from economist to chief economist. It was. He
goes on to talk about the next assignment.
He's laughing. Is that funny to him?
Yeah. Right. Well, how stupid the system is, right? Like how he cheats this country and then he gets promoted. Like, okay, good job. Here you go, promotion. He moves on to another one, and then when that guy doesn't take the deal, him and another country that didn't take the deal both die suspiciously in plane accidents. And then apparently during this presentation, he also has a Marine general come on and talk about how he feels like that was stationed over in one of the countries agrees with his opinion on the fishy circumstances of the plane crashes. So this guy does have some critics. I didn't really look too much into it.
Yeah, the soldiers, one of the critics.
A frothing conspiracy theorist. Vainglorious peddler of nonsense.
What are they out to get? Money.
You know, if we are trying to nitpick this guy's story, right? Like, why is the NSA, the people who read your fucking emails, sending out economic hitmen? National Security Agency, maybe they have some jurisdiction because, you know, just like when on this Kissinger report, he was part of the Security Council.
Yeah.
So they made it a matter of national security. Maybe that's why the NSA would have jurisdiction. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's a matter of national security, that they get this money. Yo, we got to get this money. We need to get this money right now. This is what we're going to do. We're going to oversell it. Everything you're just going to pay extra for.
one of these.
It's American made. You must pay quadruple.
One of these talk about the U.S. loans. I don't know if is it U.S. loans or is it IMF loans or the
I don't know. It sounds like all the corporations
Global
are
Development Bank, whatever that one's called.
it's going down.
I mean, the corporations are the ones who get the money from the loans. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
just like we're just using these central banks to pay the corporations, where some of these fucking bankers probably have shares of.
What else you got? What else you got here other than the economic hit, man? You got a slew. We got a slew of things that you just couldn't wait to.
Operation Condor here was just something he talked about at the end of his clip. That was the ones where these officials end up dying suspiciously. Formal system to coordinate and repress among the countries of the southern cone that operated in the mid-1970s until the early 80s. It aimed to persecute and eliminate political, social, trade union, and student activists from Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Brazil.
Wow, they're just taking people out.
Yeah, it's just the CI just marking people.
Standing up against the cause. You stand against the cause, we're coming to knock you down flat.
Yeah, you got to agree to our trade standards. You had to align with us socially.
Crazy.
No one.
And
no,
we're over.
No one's politically against us.
And we're over here worrying about what you identify as.
We got a Great Reset here. We did an episode on
Not
this.
the Great Reset again. Not the Great Reset again.
Could the stimulus that was injected during the COVID-19 pandemic kind of be like
allegedly
some of these loans in a similar situation? We have
the loans came to die, is what you're saying?
not the loans came to die, but we have our debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's our 2008 levels, where we had a huge recession.
Whoa.
We're going fucking banana bonkers from there. And,
Yeah, it's quite the slope you got going on.
Start
there,
right
bud.
here at 2020, right?
Quite the slope, bud.
In the amount of debt we've gotten into since COVID-19 is just fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just kept printing money. It's like Oprah out there. Money for you, and money for you, and money for you. They're just handing out they're just giving. You got a check, right?
Right, so
I know you got a check, right?
yeah, I mean, so the government's taking out, all this debt to do that, and it's just like we're just taking the bait that all these other countries do with taking the loan, man, because you just drive yourself into a hole where you have 20 million in your system, but there's 96 fucking trillion in total debt. You have to fucking your debt to GDP ratio is out of whack, right? So what you actually bring in, produce, isn't even break even with how much debt you're going into a year.
The old debt.
I mean, dude, it's just like if you were running a budget at your house, man, if you're spending more than you bring in, you can't do that, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, of course, yeah.
And every time, it's just so funny, dude, whenever this debt ceiling shit comes up, bro. And it's like once or whatever, every 2 years, whenever the fuck it does, dude.
The debt
But it's
ceiling.
like, dude,
Nope.
it's just so dumb. Like, all the politicians fight over it. It's all over the news. And then it'll be like, the Republicans won't pass it, or the Democrats won't pass it. And they try to, tack on other stupid fucking things to the bill. Like, oh, okay, we'll raise the debt ceiling, but you have to, make abortion illegal. Or we'll raise the debt ceiling, but you have to ban guns. Just something, stupid, right? That the other side obviously isn't going to agree to, right? And they're like, oh, well, we can't pass it. And then the other side's like, oh, well, you're stopping the debt ceiling from going. You're gonna cause us to default. And it's like, dude, it's such a stupid fucking bullshit show, man. Because look at the system. Look at the fucking system.
Tell them why you're mad.
The
son.
system is dumb, dude.
Tell them why you're mad.
Look at this. This is what
There's
you need
no
to be
money.
mad at, not the
People.
stupid show.
People, you don't have the money to buy. You don't have it. You don't have it. The government doesn't have it.
So yeah, in his book COVID-19: The Great Reset, Klaus talks about how one of the things that needs to happen is the world reserve currency needs to change. The U.S. dollar cannot be it.
Whoa.
Needs to crumble. And I mean,
Whoa.
since COVID-19, dude, I think
The crumbling of the dollar.
I haven't heard as much about it maybe in 2022, but in 2023, dude, it's been a hot topic. So in just 3 years, it's gotten exponentially worse, right? So we have another video here talking about that. And
the US dollar is officially over, or at least it will be very soon if certain
I don't know
countries
how
have their
sold I
way.
am on the
Some
idea
of
of
the world's
it.
most powerful nations have formed an alliance with the
BRICS.
intention of ending the reign of the US dollar and potentially
name.
removing the West from the top of the global food chain. To do this, a few world leaders are planning to create a new form of money, a plot
There
that
we go.
includes Putin and Xi Jinping, as well as leaders of Brazil and India, Narendra Modi and Jair Bolsonaro. This new money will soon be a serious threat to the US dollar and very likely become the most powerful form of money on the planet. Okay, so this is very big news.
Very big news,
To
right?
change the way that we trade globally and to explain
It's
the
a huge
risks, I
shift
first
in
have
how
to
things
explain
could be
who
run.
the current holders
But
of the
US
world's
dollar
most
still gets
powerful
settled in, like,
currencies
It's a
are.
shift.
You've probably heard of
80%, right, of all
It's a
trade.
partnership
It's all
of some
done
of
in
the
US
world's most
dollars, right?
powerful economies and includes the US,
Most central banks still hold US dollars.
Japan, and the European Union. It was formerly called the G8, with Russia previously being a member, but went back to being called the G7 in 2014 after Russia's membership was suspended following the annexation of Crimea. The main reason for the G7 existing is to keep the power of the West at the top of the global food chain by
It's funny, I was talking to Ed about this before. If you want to like guess players for World War III, I would say it's BRICS versus G7. Just because financially, those seem to be the alliances that are being drawn up.
strengthening political and economic ties between member nations, but also to help ensure their money remains the most powerful on the planet. Of the 6 most powerful traded currencies in the world, 5 of those are G7 nation currencies, with a
There we go. 88.3%. What
US
the
dollar
fuck,
sitting
dude?
at the top of the pile. For the most part, the G7 wants the US dollar to remain the most powerful currency on the planet, because if the US dollar stays on top, it helps keep other G7 currencies there as well, which also maintains dominance for the West as a whole. But the stranglehold the G7 has over the economic state of our world could be about to change, and it has everything to do with BRICS. No,
Whoa.
not these kind of BRICS, but this BRICS, BRICS. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and is basically a competitor to the G7.
Contestant number
comprising the world's
2.
biggest developing economies. Individually, the nations that make up BRICS aren't much of a threat to the West, but together, it's a much different story. Today, BRICS nations account for more than 40% of the world's population and 31.5% of the planet's total GDP. But by 2030, just 8 years away, the IMF
There you go. There's that fucking number, 2030.
estimates
Uh-oh.
that BRICS countries will collectively account for half of the world's GDP, and that's not taking into account new countries that may also join the alliance.
Uh-oh.
Recently, Argentina has formally applied to join BRICS. Reports suggest that Iran may also soon be doing the same, and Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey are all flirting with this.
Dude, Saudi Arabia, that's a big player because
It's going down.
because of all the oil I guess that they
Right.
trade.
They're pumping it out. They got it on deck, right?
So if they stop, because right now everyone's pretty much doing it in U.S. dollar. So
It's going
if that
down.
changes.
This
be
membership
very
as
interesting.
well. And just like it is with Captain Planet,
Let our powers combine.
together, BRICS dominance poses a serious threat to the West's dominance. And it seems that they know this, and their very first target to take out is the US dollar. Each year, BRICS nations hold an annual meeting to discuss the future of their collaborative partnership. At the 14th annual meeting in June this year, BRICS dropped a financial bomb that may seal the fate of the US dollar. And the news was delivered by this guy, Vlad himself. Putin
Uh-oh.
announced that BRICS plans to create a new global reserve currency, a form of money that will become standard in Brazil, Russia, India,
just gonna
China,
invent it out
and
of
South
nothing?
Africa, as well as other nations that may become a part of the alliance. The most important part of Putin's announcements are the words reserve currency, because for that to happen, it would have to kick the US dollar out of that top spot. Right now, the US dollar is considered the reserve currency of the world. Simply put, meaning it's used for the vast majority of the world's trade. Today, roughly 40% of all international trade is conducted in the US dollar, and
Okay,
almost
40%. at?
buying and
There we
selling
go.
of crude oil is made in this currency. This means that basically all nations on Earth must buy and hold US dollars. The more US dollars that need to be bought or used, the more valuable the currency becomes. And the United States is the only nation that can control the printing or destruction of this currency as well. Meaning if the US needs to buy more goods from other nations, it can just print more money and effectively export its inflation to the rest of the world. Since the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944, this is the incredible power the US has over the rest of the world, forcing everyone to eat out of
Back then it was
Wow.
pegged to gold, so they couldn't just print it,
It was backed by gold.
right? Because it wasn't just taken out by debt.
But now.
palm.
But now.
If the US dollar were to lose its reserve currency status, it could devastate the nation, an outcome it seems that BRICS is actively trying to achieve. So, how will this new money created by BRICS work exactly? Well, I'll touch on that in just one second, but first I just want to mention that we have a newsletter of 75,000 people that people just love. They love receiving extra financial gems into their inbox, wrapped in beautifully written stories.
Abundantia.co.
Now, back to the BRICS currency.
Beast.
So, once launched, this is probably how it would work. Hypothetically, let's call this new money BRICS bucks. According to Putin's announcement,
See-
the new currency would act like a basket.
You know, if we're talking about the naming, dude, I really hope that when we do get the digital dollar, I really hope it's called FedCoin, because I've been saying that for so long now.
Fed coin.
Yeah, FedCoin.
Remember where you heard it first. Fed coin.
Containing the value of the 5 BRICS nation currencies, making it semi-decentralized and more stable than the US dollar. And to give the currency even more power, it's possible BRICS bucks could also be backed by gold. Since the first BRICS meeting, the 5 BRICS nations have been buying up gold like crazy, increasing their supply by several thousand% per year. And this doesn't even include the recent discovery of up to 12 trillion worth of new gold in Uganda. In other words, more gold than the combined
We're going to war with Uganda soon. Watch.
Think so?
Uganda's president's about to get murked, and the new one put in place. He's just fucking wait, bro.
Wow.
of the world's supply today. New deposits that will almost exclusively
Turn that
be
volume
mined by
down.
China, meaning for the first time in half a century, we could again have a currency backed by gold, which on its own
Wow.
would almost instantly make it the most valuable money on earth. Now, the United States
So
Instantly.
yeah, you know, it's because the idea is that you can't print more and go into debt whenever you want, thus devaluing it, inflating it. Right? Because to create more, you'd have to have the gold able, so that because it's redeemable in gold.
Right.
So, and then it depends on how much they want to have redeemable, right? Like,
Mhm.
do they have like 1/10 of the gold redeemable at once? Or is it fully backed by gold?
Whoa. Fully.
Right? You would want it to be fully backed.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a choice, right? I would like it. I would like it full.
We'll
please.
talk about like some of the bank runs that happened earlier this year too, but like, I mean, dude, it's just these systems are allowed to
Do whatever they want.
have a 1/10 of the fucking money that they're supposed to have. You know what I mean?
You borrow money and
that's-
don't pay it back,
and
your
that's
life
safe.
is ruined.
And that's safe, dude. Like, it's just obviously fucking bank runs are a fucking. can
What
happen
else we
so
got?
easily.
What else we got moving forward?
I got a little article here about 3 reasons why the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank holds the world in its hands. So why does the Fed got the world by the balls, dude? This article talks a lot about the impact on Africa. I thought it was interesting because it's kind of like what NSSM was talking about too, specifically some of those countries.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the International Emergency or Energy Agency estimates by the end of the year 30 million more Africans will be unable to afford fuel for cooking. The World Bank
Jeez.
estimates that the number of Africans living in extreme poverty will increase from 424 million to 463 million this year.
Ouch. A Klaus Schwab.
So the article's talking about 2 different groups, right? And how they differ on how to manage the problem of central banks like the U.S. Fed and their loose monetary policies, where they engaged in low interest rates and quantitative easing, where they would just like
How could you?
print money and buy up different or inject money or buy money and add liquidity is what they would say to different areas of the of the economy.
Whoa, liquidity?
Mhm.
Never heard of that before. What is that? Liquidity.
Like injecting funds. So if you think of like the monetary system as a body of water, right? And like
Okay.
the river is starting to like slow down. And so the economy starts dragging. If you add more water, add more liquidity, it'll like increase activity in the economy, increase growth.
And people will be able to spend more money.
Yeah, people are spending money, things are growing. That's the idea, right?
Dope, yeah.
But how do they fucking make that money? They have to take it out in the form of a loan, pay interest on it, debt,
And you
get this.
And then you're that.
and
yeah.
then you get this.
Then we're back to this again. The table of context.
For a number of years, they have kept interest rates low and engaged in quantitative easing. This involved buying bonds or financial markets to increase the funds available to financial institutions like commercial banks, investment banks, asset management firms, private equity firms, hedge funds, pension funds, insurance companies, money market funds, and sovereign wealth funds. This is another way that they were just shooting money into the system. These two
Jeez.
groups also differ on how to manage the problem. The first group argues that it will diminish as the supply side issues are resolved. The second camp argues that the central bank should raise interest rates and unwind down quantitative easing. So that's what they ended up doing, right? This article's a little old. But now you've heard about how the Fed keeps raising interest rates, how there's no more quantitative easing, and how they said they're going to start doing quantitative tightening, which means selling all of those bonds and everything that they bought before.
It's gone. Do you have to sell it?
So that, well, yeah, they're going to sell it, which is going to lower price because they bought up a lot.
And you lose money.
Yeah.
Tons and tons.
And because our interest rates are so high, dude, some of these bonds that people have bought or banks that have bought, they're losing money now
Whoa.
on holding a government bond. It's very bad, especially when you're holding like a 10-year bond.
Whoa. What do we do then? What are we gonna do?
Well,
What can they do?
they could sell
How's it losing its value like that?
because the inflation is so high. Yeah.
That's these numbers going up on the graph there on your box.
Right.
On your box there with the numbers and the up and up and up and up and up and
Yeah.
up.
So the inflation is bigger than the interest
Mm.
that you're getting from holding it.
So you just bought that. That's all you bought.
Right. So you're gonna get your interest payments, right, of whatever the 5%, whatever 6%, whatever it's at now, 7%. But the inflation is at 8, 9, whatever it was.
Damn.
So you've lost out. You didn't make anything. In fact, you lost money by holding that bond for 10 years.
Who walked you into that? Like, if you're conscious, how'd you? No, I can't see anything yet. You said 10 years, right? I'll hold on to it for 10.
But yeah, the recent bank failures too. What I thought was interesting is that so there's only been 3 bank failures. We had a nice percentage little statistic here. The total assets of the 2 failures in 2023 amount to 87.6% of the total assets from the 25 bank failures of 2008, right? We could go to the go to that previous article, the little graph that we had pulled up. Got our debt ceiling here. This is our 2008,
Wow.
and
Quite
kind of
the-
what started this 2008
Quite
thing.
the incline here, people.
Our debt is just going crazy. We've already had 2 bank failures. Everyone's talking about ditching the dollar as the world reserve currency.
Wow.
We got people, not just people, but central banks increasing vastly the amount of gold that they've been buying for years now. It's interesting to see, right? Like we know that the system is like fucking, I don't know, like a time bomb, right? I don't know when it's going to go off, but it's certainly ticking down. And it's just,
It's definitely going.
are we
on
going to
that
switch
trend.
over to one of these new gold standards? Are they going to do like a digital dollar thing and change everything up? I don't know. I with the whole digital dollar, I know that's like their wet dream, right? But
I thought that's what you wanted. You wanted Bitcoin to flourish. I thought digital is the way to go. That's what you wanted, Dave.
I think
Isn't that what you wanted?
I
Dave?
know, dude. It's kind of changed a lot now.
You think?
It's changed a lot.
You think it's changed?
I don't think that the governments control Bitcoin and stuff.
No, but I'm just saying. Like,
I think that Bitcoin really isn't as private and everything as it should be, though. It's very easily traced. It's very easy for all the fucking current institutions that are working within this system
there it
to
is.
limit the use of Bitcoin when we're still doing this system. So it's so much harder to be able to adopt something like Bitcoin. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it still seems like we're going to be going the digital route. But what do they do with this? What happens to this? How do they get rid of all this?
You gotta just start over. There's no way you could just. You know how big the bump is? You sweep this under the rug. You know, you just gotta.
You bottoming out.
You just gotta.
You're
start
launched
over.
to the fucking moon and back. You're fucking. I mean, dude.
You just gotta start over, dude.
Holy shit! How big of a bump?
The amount of money here.
Bro, you're
is
going
just-
over a sinkhole that's been like a week in, dude. Yeah. So here's a proposal. HR 2435. You can go look that up on Congress Gov. Gold Standard Restoration Act. What do they want to do?
What's that?
The bill requires the Department of Treasury to define Federal Reserve note dollars in terms of the fixed weight of gold, based on that day's closing market price of gold. I think this is a cool idea, right? Because, you know, at least we're not, okay, we're just going to print money, right? Because now all the money that they print has to be backed by gold,
But,
right? So if we don't have the money to actually back the gold,
Then you can't print money.
yeah.
But they've been printing. Let's be real. They've been printing money. COVID, they were just handing checks out. How many checks did you get?
Well, yeah, but they
many
didn't have
checks
to
did
have it redeemable and anything, you know what I mean? It's just debt.
How many checks did you get for COVID, dude?
Got two.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
I kept
They
one
were
'cause
just
that's a souvenir.
printing them.
Shit's crazy. I can't believe I got that.
You didn't even cash it?
Oh no, I cashed it. Yeah,
Okay.
I did it digitally.
So you can keep it.
Yeah, wasn't giving that away. Come on, that's so
Oh.
stupid. Of course, I had to keep that. I should have it like encased so it doesn't.
Yeah,
like, fade.
exactly. And you only put on like white gloves and use tweezers to pick it up.
Yeah. Federal Reserve notes with gold at this price and create, processed, or facilitate exchanges between banks and the public. The Federal Reserve must exchange these notes. Sorry. If a Federal Reserve Bank does not do this, the Treasury must make an exchange and place a corresponding lien on the assets of that bank. In addition, Treasury and Board of Governors of Federal Reserve must report U.S. gold holdings.
Wow.
This is the issue, right? Is like gold, it can be traded on an open market, right? So now that the Illuminati knows that we're backing our shit in gold, they just like crash the price of gold, like by fucking with the market.
And saying gold. How can gold stop being worth something?
Well, I mean, people just sell.
I mean, they didn't. You know, you're making diamonds in labs now.
Like, what if the
It
fucking
didn't bring
Illuminati
it
just
didn't-
has
It didn't
all
bring
this
the
gold,
price. It didn't bring the price of diamonds down.
and they just fucking yeah, because now everyone's like, oh, it's lab diamond. Oh, it's not real.
lab
I
diamond.
don't want lab.
It's not as diamondy as a regular diamond.
I need mine with extra child labor and blood.
I like my
This
blood
lab
diamonds.
pussy shit.
Taking 18 hours or 48 hours to be manufactured.
So, 3 congressmen introduced the gold standard bill to stabilize the dollar's value. That could help it maintain balance as a world reserve currency. I still don't even understand how we pay back the debt.
Whoa.
You know, like this still doesn't work.
Ever.
Never.
Never.
It's never going to work.
It's never. But just keep doing it, right? Just sustain it. Just
What else we
keep
got
doing
here?
it. Why just keep doing it?
Data suggests that U.S. dollar reserves in central banks are dwindling.
Are they? Dwindling.
The International Monetary Report reports a record decline in central bank holdings throughout the fourth quarter of 2020, which went from 71% to 59%. It's pretty pretty big drop off.
Quite
It's only down from 7 trillion to 6.4 trillion by the end of March 2022. Chinese yuan getting boost, 9% rise during the same period.
Uh-oh.
That's one of the BRICS countries there.
It's a G7? Is that what she said?
Yeah, well, G7 would be the U.S. and its allies, and BRICS is the counterpart, which is China, Russia, Brazil, India.
So we're G7, and then everybody else is BRIC?
Yeah, not everyone else, but like the other like, 7 major ones.
BRIC.
With Iran, Saudi Arabia,
Get hit
some
with
others
a brick,
interested.
brick. Who comes up with these names? Calling this group of people a brick. That's not very flattering.
Substantial growth in trade
You're a
volumes
brick.
between Russia and China.
You get on that side of the room, you fucking brick. Get over there.
I thought this article was talking about
The first time you said it, I thought you were saying Brit.
the gold.
I thought you were saying Brits. I thought they were on our side. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know what's happening anymore. What is real anymore? Doing all these friggin' conspiracies, you don't know what the hell's real anymore. Honestly, to be honest. To be fair, how the hell are you supposed to know what the hell's what anymore?
Apparently, we have 10 trillion in gold.
I mean, the lines start blurring when you do this shit. I'll tell you that. For real. The lines begin to be blurred.
Fort Knox apparently has 6 trillion in gold.
Start talking to people at work about, John F. Kennedy. They still think the mob did it, bro. Still thinking the mob did it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he still thinks the mob did it no matter what I tell that guy.
Here's the one that's talking about central banks buying up gold.
What? Where do we go from here?
And this was from the World Economic Forum, too.
Not the old World Economic Forum back at it
and
again.
so it's like, oh, fuck, bro.
Trying to take all
these
your
guys
belongings.
doing some World Economic Forum shit with the Gold Standard Restoration Act. Is this the Illuminati play right here, dude?
Probably.
These 10 countries have the world's largest gold reserves.
I'm captivated.
Netherlands, 613 tons. India, 658 tons. The world's second biggest consumer of gold, boosted by its popularity at Indian weddings. Japan, 765 tons. Alright, fuck this music, dude. Switzerland, 1,000 tons. Most gold per capita. China, almost 2,000 tons. 1,900.
Wow. The old
Russia,
1900.
2.2 tons. France, 2.4 tons. Oh, 2,400 tons, I should be saying. Italy, 2,400. Germany, 3,300. U.S., 8,000 tons. Huge.
Massive.
Huge. What was this?
It's gonna be huge, Caroline. It's gonna be huge. What's this here? What do you got here?
That's how many ounces they have here, but it doesn't tell us how many tons, unfortunately. Just to fact check the WF here.
I was just in. That was just about gold. I mean,
it's interesting. Some of the countries here, the 14th BRICS Summit.
What's this 14th BRICS Summit? What's the correlation between
14th meeting between the BRICS countries?
Okay.
Talk about how they increasingly worried that the country has weaponized the position of power in recent years. Talking about the U.S. And it's just like, dude, like countries are finally sick of us being economic hitmen, so they make a.
Can you blame them?
Yeah, can you blame them, right? Like, dude, we're the empire.
Can you blame them?
Right?
We're the Death Star. I've
been seeing this as a news article recently. We should mint a $1 trillion coin to get us out of debt.
What is a coin?
How the fuck does that work? You go into debt $1 trillion to get yourself out of debt. Like, dude, it's so fucking stupid. And then I looked it up, right, because to find a video or a little article for our podcast that has a Wikipedia page. And this has been some stupid fucking idea since 2011, apparently. that they must just bring it up every time they have these stupid fucking couple months of like a debt ceiling crisis is gonna happen.
Oh,
And so I just
the
thought
old
that was funny. I had
ceiling's
to
gonna
show you
collapse
guys
on you.
this. Just fucking dumb, man.
The ceiling's gonna fall right down upon thee.
Yeah. Here's another one of these articles. The government could run out of money and pay off its debts as soon as June 1st. One potential solution, minting $1 trillion platinum coin to pay off debts and avert disaster.
How big is this coin gonna be?
The coin is unlikely to fly, but Biden aides are looking at other legal workarounds.
How big is this coin gonna be?
Dude,
And it's gonna be worth that much money?
I don't think it's going to be that big because, like, platinum weighs a lot. Or
Yep.
it's worth a lot. I don't know how to spell platinum. How much is 1 ounce of platinum bullion? $1,000 per ounce.
Whoa.
So yeah, it's pretty.
What's an ounce of gold?
200 looks like.
Okay.
Oh, 2,000 per ounce, is that it? Or per. Yeah, per ounce, 2,000. Okay, so it's like the same as platinum. So why not just mint a gold coin?
No, you said gold was a 2,000, platinum was 1,000.
Oh, it's platinum's 1,000. Okay. Yeah, why not just mint a gold coin, dude? Shit. Because everyone's been buying gold, dude. That's why. Yeah, platinum 1,000, palladium 1,600, silver 25. Garbage.
Cabbage in the muff. Silver's just not what it used to be.
You know?
Not at all. Not at all.
It's interesting. Gold has been at this price before.
How many years?
2011.
The same increment? That's interesting.
Yeah, just about 1,800.
Man, you were big. You were so big on the Bitcoin, man. Way back when, man. You were huge. You were a huge guy on the coin. On the digital coin.
I mean, I still think it's good.
You still do? Okay.
I still think it's like the whole concept of it, right? It's like, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it takes away from stealing it, right? Physically. Like, no one can break into your house and steal it. You know?
Everyone has access to it.
Like, basically, no one can steal it from you when, you're walking down the street. I mean, like, it helps, with a lot of different things, but
There's
at the same time, it's like,
you can interact with like another, like all the other networks. You can
right, but those things that, are what on the surface appear to be such great things about it is, could end up being your demise. Just like I'm sure when they came horse and buggies with the United States Army from house to house, telling people to give up their gold so that we can hand you money. I'm sure they weren't happy about it.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously.
Right? Somebody's knocking on your door and coming and taking all this shit that's yours. Everything's that's yours.
What do we
All
do
the
with
gold.
this? Where does it go from here? I don't know. Does it end up with the dollar collapsing? Probably.
We'll see. I mean, from what you say, it's
It's a
still
countdown
pretty
to
strong.
Fed coin, baby.
It's still pretty strong.
It's the final countdown for Fed coin. All right. Thanks for listening to the little impromptu we had so that we can put something out for you next week.
Yes, sir.
Next episode, we'll have everyone here. Be nice and good. We got a cool one lined up for everyone's favorite character, conspiracy character.
David Icke.
David Icke. It's cool. It's cool. He's If you haven't heard about them and you're into conspiracies, man, you must just not fucking look very far.
Yeah, I mean, because this one here this has been going on. This guy's been doing this since like the 70s. No, he's been running around and speaking on this topic, which is the Illuminati and the lizard people. There's people involved. There's shapeshifters, shifting shapes. They're talking about they're in our every facet of our political and entertainment entertainment views, everything for that from entertainment to political figures. They're all basically the Illuminati.
Right. I mean, that's what I always end up thinking it as.
Well, maybe it's just,
but we're gonna do a who's who on him, go in deep dive on all his
and see what he has to say indirectly about this whole lizard thing. We're gonna get to the bottom of the lizard thing, basically. So I'm sure J-Man Lizard's really gonna love it because he's gonna get his opportunity to figure out what the lizard's all about.
He's gonna give us the inside scoop.
Yeah, he's gonna give us the inside scoop.
So thank you for listening. We'll catch you on next week.
Peace.
This is the Conspiracy Commission Podcast.